Welcome back in the room. My guest today is a very funny stand-up comedian and the most professional comedian.
Thank you.
Working today.
Thank you. Yeah.
Currently resides right here in St. Louis, Missouri. It's Joe Marlotti, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Please, everybody, stay seated. Thank you. It's great to be here. So this is nice. Thanks for having me. You know, it's funny. My wife asked me, she says, why do you have to go so early to the show? And I said, well, I'm going to be in the back of the room with Jimmy Day. And she's like, yeah, I understand. That sounds really bad, but it's not as bad as the last time I was in the back of the room with Jimmy Day. So she understands.
Yeah.
But, I'm here.
Yeah, thanks for being here, man.
Yeah, I've screwed this up twice. The first time I was here, I had a bunch of stuff going on. And you asked me to do it, and I was like, I can't, man. I'm sorry. And then the next time you asked me to do it, I said, I'll do it. And then I didn't show up. So I'm glad we're finally doing this early.
Yeah, it worked out.
Yeah.
Went from Friday or whatever to Sunday. It's all
it doesn't
good.
make
So,
any
yeah.
difference. It's a holiday weekend.
Yeah, the shows have been good, though.
We have had great shows. You know, the middle act has been a little
hit or miss.
Hit or miss. No, it's been really good show. I think the way it builds is really nice too. We got Molly and what is Molly's ambiguity?
Ambergy.
Ambergetti, baby. Molly, and she's good. And then Jimmy has been good. And then I've had a great time. It's been a good week. Yeah.
Yeah, Thursday was good. Like, you never know about Thursday, but it was a great Thursday crowd.
It was super good.
And then, I heard we got a good crowd coming tonight, too. So.
Well, let's pray, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. It is a holiday weekend, and it is raining. So that bodes well for attendance at the Funny Bone. So.
I think we'll be good. But, yeah, man. I know we met a few times here and there, but I don't know you that well. So just going to run through some stuff here. It's called That's My Favorite. So I'll just throw something out and let me know what your favorite of this category is.
Right.
This is a random one, but favorite sandwich.
Wow, that's a toughie.
You said you had a brat before you got here.
Yeah, well, it's a Memorial Day, so I was grilling, and so I had a bratwurst. Nummy, but not my favorite sandwich. What is my favorite sandwich? Boy, I really do like a good Schlotzsky's, Jimmy. You can't find any Schlotzsky's anymore, and I wonder if it's because the name of the store was Schlotzsky's.
Yeah.
But I actually did like that. That was actually one of my favorites because it was like a muffaletta.
Is that like a local place?
Yeah, no, it was a chain for a while.
Okay, it doesn't ring a bell.
I know it hasn't. There's very few of them around, and but they were back in the day, back when you were a pup. We used to eat those things. And they were good. They had like an olive spread on them, which is what muffaletta has. That might be my favorite sandwich.
Okay.
Muffaletta from straight from New Orleans. Yeah, Central Grocery. I don't know if you can get a finer sandwich than that.
Never had that either, but I'll try to seek it out.
See if you can find that. Get on that one right there.
Favorite sport?
Well, I love all sports. I really do. My favorite sport that I do now, because I can't do any sports, is I like to golf.
Okay. I
throw darts because I live near Blueberry Hill in University City. And but my favorite sport, like to watch, is football. I just can't. We play fantasy football every year.
Yeah.
The Funny Bone has its own fantasy football league. It gets really. It's a great day for get to see everybody on draft day and I follow the sport, and it's like I don't like everything that's going on in the NFL, but I still think the sport is just captivating. Just watching big steroid men run into each other at high speed is captivating.
It's very good. That's probably my favorite to watch. That and basketball is kind of tied, but that's a good one, man. If anybody drops out, I'm going to try to get into the Funny Bone League, but we'll see.
There's a waiting list, Jim.
I'm sure there is.
Yeah. So,
I got one with my high school buddies, but it's fizzling out.
Yeah, I have one. I used to be in like 2 or 3 leagues at a time, and that really kept me busy. So, but a little too busy actually.
Yeah,
so,
and
I lost them all, and that got really expensive.
Yeah, so. I hear you. How about favorite band or musician?
Dum 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 duh. That's a toughie.
That's a tough one.
I've been
sure.
around a long time. My
you give me like top 3 if you want.
I've seen a lot of bands.
Yeah,
and I would say that the one that has always been is never ever let me down is the Rolling Stones. because they always are the Rolling Stones. They just do what they do, and they keep chugging along, and they're all like 450 years old, and they're all drug addicts, and they all just live the life, and they're not the drug addicts. That's notwithstanding, because actually I don't know if they are anymore. I don't think Mick does anything. But I think
Keith, maybe. I don't.
I've heard
the fact that he's still alive is really.
I think that's the most amazing thing in the world. Yeah,
that's
I think
awesome.
Keith and Willie Nelson still kicking it.
Yeah,
yeah. And
great.
Everybody says, "Well, don't do drugs." It's like, but look, these guys are just
apparently
still
some people can. Yeah.
So I'm thinking about going back to drugs. Actually, I'm starting to feel old. Anyway, Stones have never let me down, man. They've always been. But I like a lot of new bands too. I listen to a lot of music, Jim. I keep my kids. They're like, "Dad, you listen to so much music." I'm like, "Yeah, guys, there's some good ones out there. You know, you got to go check them out." So but the Stones have always been the ones that I think have always kind of. They're the template for rock and roll. You know me, rock and roll. Now I am a big blues fan though.
Yeah.
So I love the blues, and I thought B.B. King is probably my all-time favorite single performer.
Okay.
Because I actually saw B.B. King a couple of times before he passed away, and he was my favorite. And there's a lot of great new blues people out now. We saw Samantha Fish recently. There's a guy named Kingfish. There's Joe Bonamassa. A lot of good stuff.
Yeah, and you incorporate, the guitar up there sometimes too. How long have you been doing that? Has that always been
I've been doing music longer. I've been playing guitar longer than I've been doing comedy.
Okay.
Yeah, and some people say, well, it's a lot like your comedy in the fact that you've been doing it a long time, but you never get any better. Anyway, I have but I've been playing since I was in high school.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and then I played in some bands when I was in college and stuff, and I still played a little bit when I was back. When I was still doing comedy before I. Went out and started doing cruise ships, which takes me away from everything. So,
Gotcha. All right. Only got a couple more here, and then we'll move on. Do you have a favorite SNL cast member of all time?
That's another good one.
That's a tough one. These are all tough.
These are good ones, man. I'd say, I think Belushi was like a one of a kind.
Mm-hmm.
He was a one of a kind. And if you read his, not his autobiography, but the book called Wired that I think was written by Bob Woodward years ago, and it was kind of a biography about what he did. Now the rest of the cast members said it wasn't really accurate, but it probably was.
Mm-hmm.
He was just crazy, and he again lived the rock and roll lifestyle and everything. And he was a big punk music guy. He was a crazy dude. I liked him a lot. I thought he was possibly the most original of all of them. Boy, I don't know, man. There's so many good ones, and I watch Saturday Night Live all the time. There's so many good ones. I'd say you'd have to say Keenan because he's been around.
He's been on there the longest, I think,
Yeah,
the longest run.
I think he started before when it was in black and white, and that's how long he's been there. He's been there a million years. He's solid. He's always solid. He always does a good job. I don't know who my favorite is though. It's hard to. I don't know. Who's your favorite?
I'd say Will Ferrell probably.
Yeah,
but
Will
that's
Will Ferrell's one of those people.
There's a lot of good ones.
I got to be honest with you. Will Ferrell's one of those guys that always makes me laugh just looking at him. I just can't. And a lot of people are like, he's stupid. I'm like, yeah, it's just really stupid.
It's
but
comedy,
it cracks me up. It's so funny. Yeah, he's really funny. He's one of my favorites. I thought, I didn't like Andy Samberg when he was on the show, but afterwards I like him more. So same thing with Adam Sandler. So I didn't think Adam Sandler was that funny on the show.
Okay.
I didn't even like his movies. But
really?
Yeah, he was. I opened for Adam Sandler, by the way. That's how old I am. Yeah, here at the the Catch a Rising Star in Union Station. I opened for him one time. I'll never forget it because he walked on stage. He was on Saturday Night Live at the time. He was really big, and he came on the stage, and everybody was waiting for him. He walked up to the microphone, and he went, "Oh!" and the crowd went, "Ah!" Crazy. It was like, man, the power of stardom.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Did you get to hang out with him at all, or just kind of mostly at the shows?
No, I didn't. I actually had to leave early. They brought me in. They didn't have an MC that night.
Oh, okay.
So they were like, they needed somebody. I was like, I got a thing going on. They're like, can you just do 20 minutes? I'm like, yeah, I can. Yeah, so I dropped by and did 20 minutes.
Nice.
I didn't get to meet him because he got out of a plane and just ran to the stage. So
wow, that's cool though.
Yeah.
All right, this will be the last one. Favorite Keanu Reeves movie? Are you a fan of him?
I do like Keanu Reeves.
Okay.
I I think he's I can tell you what his worst one was. I know that.
Okay.
Dracula. He ruined the damn movie. He ruined it.
I don't think I saw that one.
Oh my God! I think Gary Oldman should have literally bitten his neck for real. He was so bad. He should have ripped his carotid artery right out of his. I'm sorry, but he's pretty good in the rest of them. Let's see. What's my favorite one? I think Matrix, especially the first one, classic.
Yeah, that's probably mine.
Absolutely classic. One of the most underrated Keanu Reeves movies was one that he did with Christian, or what's his name? Was it Chris? I can't remember.
What was it about?
It was like him and this. They found a dead body down by the river. Him and his girlfriend, and they tried to. This one guy killed this girl, and they tried to cover up for him for reasons unbeknownst to me throughout the whole movie. I cannot remember the name of the route.
It's not ringing a bell.
It was like Down by the River or something like that. I can't remember what it was. Somebody,
Okay.
well, let's have one of your listeners call in.
Yeah, I know.
Is anybody? Are the phones lighting up? No, they're not.
Can you Google that in the back
Google
now?
that. Somebody
Oh,
Google that. You know what I'm
sorry.
talking about. Yeah, that was an underrated one. That was the first one that actually showed that he could act. But he was also great in Bill and Ted. He played the characters really well in that. But yeah, but Dracula. Damn you, Chris. damn you, Keanu Reeves. You ruined the whole movie for me.
All right. Let's get into some comedy questions here. I know you've been doing it a long time.
comedy.
You're doing it tonight. You're probably getting tired
Only
of
because I'm getting paid.
Did you start doing it here?
Yeah, first time I ever went on stage was at the Funny Bone in Westport Plaza.
Gotcha. Was it here or across
the other across the plaza? This is the second location, the original location.
I've heard that from some people.
It had been open not very long, and I was just walking by one time with my girlfriend, and I was like, "This place looks cool." And we walked in, and we got a seat, and we got a pitcher of beer, and I was just sitting there. And I was watching a guy tell jokes. I was like, "This is the coolest thing I've ever seen." By the way, they didn't have comedy clubs back then. This was a long time ago.
Yeah.
They didn't have comedy clubs. This was something really novel for St. Louis. And I was like, "This is really cool." And then the headliner came up, and it was this guy who I'd never heard of before, and I didn't know that somebody who I'd never heard of before could be funny. It was a guy by the name of Bill Engvall. You may have heard of him now.
I have.
Yeah, and he was here that night, and I was like, "Wow, I saw a good show." And then word got out pretty soon that was like the thing to do in St. Louis, and they said they have open mic nights. And a bunch of my friends in college were like, "You should go, you should try it." So I came up and I tried it, and I did really well. And then they asked me to come back the next time, and I came back the next week. And at that time, comedy was exploding.
Yeah.
So they started paying me real soon, and then they started sending me on the road. So I've literally been doing comedy my whole life, Jimmy. That's all I've ever. I have no other skills, none whatsoever. Really, I've been doing it. Somebody asked me the other day, "How long have you been doing it?" 40 years.
Wow.
That's when I started. Was in 1985 here in at Westport Plaza.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hard to
I mean,
believe
it
it's been
sounds.
here that long.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a pretty good start for you too, because like you did well the first time,
Yeah.
and then you kind of just got to
Yeah.
move up. Like at that time,
like
there
I
wasn't
said,
as many people
there were-
doing it, and it
there
was
were
more
clubs
rare.
than
And
there were comics,
yeah.
man. It was crazy. Yeah, it was a wild Wild West back then.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
man.
so I just went from being a MC to a middle real fast, and went from being a middle to a headliner, and pretty fast too. So, but I mean, the people I've worked with on the way up have been amazing. You know, I mean, the names of the people that have made it huge, like Bill Engvall, you know, Ron White and all those guys, Foxworthy and all those guys, and some of the newer guys too that have been here. I mean, geez, it's crazy just to see how it progresses. You know?
Yeah, it feels like kind of another boom in the last 3 or 4 years.
I think it's
bit.
taken off now. Yeah, there's a lot, but a lot of it's YouTube stuff. And,
Yeah.
and TikTok comedy.
Yeah, I know. Like probably right when you started, that was the boom, and then there was a drop off
Yeah.
for a while. And
Yeah.
do you think that we'll have a drop off coming next couple of years, or?
I don't know. There's sure are a lot of comics out there right now. Again, there might be too many comics for the actual medium. You know, because I mean, some of these guys look good for a minute and a half.
Yeah, that's the whole show on
Right? Yeah,
on
that's all they
YouTube.
got. Yeah, we had I work on cruise ships, right? And on cruise ships, you have to have a lot of material. On Carnival Cruise Lines, where I work, you have to have at least 3 different half hours. One of those half hours has to be clean. All right. And so a lot of these guys are like, yeah, I got that kind of time. And, they'll see him on Facebook or whatever. And they'll be like, yeah, well, this guy's pretty good. See him on YouTube or whatever it is. And they bring him in. And the guy he's got 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then all he does is talk to the crowd. And he doesn't even have anything funny to say to the crowd. And it's like, why do we book this guy? So
yeah, I could see that, especially on a cruise, because you might have people coming back to multiple shows or different stuff going on.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
It's funny because that's one of the cruise lines I work for just said, okay, guys, if you want to work for us, you need to send us complete sets. We need complete 30-minute.
That makes sense.
Preferably 45-minute sets.
I'm wondering the same thing. Like you mentioned, the minute and a minute and a half. Like Kill Tony is a minute.
Yeah.
And people are getting booked all over the place off of that. I'm like, how do you know that their hour's good if you've only seen a minute?
Right.
It's just like, I don't know how that works, but whatever.
I think it has to do with the fact that everybody's attention span is so. It's just
I know.
Nobody can sit. I can't believe we still do 90-minute shows here and people don't just get up and walk out going, I've seen enough.
I know. TikTok and everything's making it worse because everybody's just like 5 seconds at a time.
Everybody judges
not
in
great.
5 seconds. Yeah.
That gal on the Late Show Friday was definitely a TikToker. You could tell she didn't have any kind of attention.
Oh, she had
span.
The girl from Georgia.
Yeah, we had a heckler. I had to yell at her a couple times, and then
did we? Yeah.
He had to do the same, and she left, and everybody clapped, which was great.
She didn't want to be there.
No,
she had
she
no
wouldn't
idea
laugh
what
at anything.
She had no idea what a
just-
live comedy show was all
No.
about. Although all I know is that she had her own business.
Yeah, which she wouldn't elaborate on, right?
She kept making a point that everybody knew that she had her own
Yeah.
business.
OnlyFans is a business.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Oh, hey now.
What's your writing process like?
I don't write, Jim. You've seen my act.
Well, you've been doing it a long time, so you got a lot of material.
I got a lot of material. I don't know how it gets there. I really don't.
Yeah.
Man, I tell you, I'm not prolific. Everybody knows it. It's not like it's a big secret that Joe Marlotti's got a new 45 every time he comes out here. I work stuff in, but I'm not Greg Warren. In fact, I got so much respect for him. Because first of all, I've known Greg since even before he started doing comedy, and he used to be at Mizzou and come watch us up at the Deja Vu Comedy Club up there when I was up there. And,
Nice.
And he's and I've never seen a guy work so hard at comedy. I've never seen a guy work that hard at what he does. It's obvious. It's his passion still, which I think is amazing. But he comes up with a new show every 20 minutes.
I know.
It seems like
he
he's
just had a new special out. No, I think this week.
Netflix special. That I'm not even finished watching his Amazon special, and before that, his YouTube special.
Yeah,
he's got something new every. I don't know how he does it. He's just so good at it. But I don't. I have to be inspired sometimes. I can't force it, and something has to hit me, or there has to be some sort of pressure involved. So if I get a corporate gig and they tell me I want you to do some jokes about this, then I'm under a deadline.
Yeah.
I can usually come up with something. It's not going to be the highest quality stuff in the world because I don't have time to work it out on stage or anything like that. But I still can do that. So I can write if I have to. I've written for other people and other things. I used to. I've done some ad copy for people and written content for live shows for corporate shows and meetings and things like that. But as far as my own material, it's I kind of have to. It's got to hit me as being funny, you know? So, unfortunately, what hit me is the stuff I'm joking about this week isn't funny at all. It's the tornado. And it's not funny, but it's it's on top of everybody's mind.
Yeah,
so let's keep it there. That's my point. So.
No, it's good. I've heard your stuff on it. It's pretty funny, and some of the proceeds are going to it, so that's great.
So,
but
yeah, and the other thing is, being from St. Louis, is this week I was thinking, well, let's keep it a St. Louis show. We got all St. Louis comics.
Yeah,
we're raising money for a St. Louis cause, so I've been trying to keep it really, keep it homey. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
Keep it real.
Yeah, it's been good.
Yeah.
How about favorite comedians? You got a top 3, top 5? That's another tough question.
That's another tough one. That's a super tough one because I don't watch too much comedy. I don't watch too much comedy because I have a tendency to sponge things. I don't mean material, but just sometimes if I'm in the South, I'll pick up an accent. If I'm working with a guy for a long time, I might pick up some of his mannerisms or something like that. So I try and stay away from a lot of that stuff. I don't watch too many people's other material, which I probably should because, I don't really even know what people are doing anymore. I know some guys are trying. I know there's still guys out there trying to be edgy, but I'm not. And believe me, I'm not. But they. I don't know. The guys I always thought Brian Regan was the greatest comic of all time.
Yeah, he's great.
And this is well after I started doing comedy, because he was able to be that funny and that clean, which I thought was amazing.
Yeah.
To be able to do that.
Yeah, and he's one too that you don't even really realize he's clean until I mean, everybody knows he's clean now, but if some random person watched for the first time, they wouldn't even care or notice.
Regan's one of my favorites. I mean, he was just because and another guy used to chunk out a ton of material. So I used to work. There was a guy by the name of Jake Johansson that used to be really good. I used to work with him a lot. And as far as the new guys, I mean, everybody loves Nate. Mm-hmm. And I mean, and again, another guy who just a lot of material, super clean. Mm-hmm. The new guy, I like John Mulaney a lot. I think he's a great writer. You know.
Yeah.
I've always loved Sarah Silverman. Just because I just love how she pushes everything as far as she can and gets by with more stuff than most people.
Yeah, I think she's got something new out too.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah. So I just love it, and she can be, and Nikki's awesome right now.
Yeah, she's killing it.
And I mean, she really does a great job under super high pressure situations.
Yeah,
and she just effortlessly glides into them now. And it's like it's like one of those deals where, having known her when she started, I was like, and I don't know her that well. I mean, we say hi if we ever see each other, but I think she's just amazing, man. I think she's done such a great job.
Yeah,
and it's just hard being a woman comic. It is. So.
Yeah, she's killing it. I've met her a few times. She was always nice, and hung up that picture the other day. So we got a new picture
of her instead of boy. That's and she looks. I mean, she's almost as good looking as Frank Caliendo when he was 40 pounds heavier. But I guess
a bit of an upgrade there.
Yeah, I'm not a big Frank Caliendo fan anyway. So Nikki's good in my book. So.
How about like the best or the worst show you've ever had?
Oh, geez.
Or just one that comes to mind, maybe.
Worst one I ever had was at a thing called the Knights of the Cauliflower Ear, which was a dinner that they used to have. The St. Louis Cardinals would have a dinner, and all these people would come to get autographs and stuff like that. And they have this big dinner, and all the players would sit up at the front, and then they'd do Jack Buck would host it, right? I don't know if you remember Jack Buck, the Cardinals announcer, old guy, talk like this, and Tony La Russa was the manager at the time. We were winning. Mark McGuire was there, and Jim Edmonds, and it was just one of these things where I was like, "This is great," And they said, "Joe, I want you to come. We want you to be the stand-up comic at this." I'm like, "That'll be fantastic."
Yeah.
So I get there, and my name isn't on the list on the schedule. And I'm like, "Well, that's okay. I guess I'll leave." And the guy who booked me goes, "No, I'll talk to Mr. Buck about it." Because Mr. Buck, this is Joe Marlotti. He's a professional comedian, and he's supposed to be on the schedule. And Jack Buck was like, "A professional? Well, I won't have to do any material." And so Jack Buck opened the show by doing like 40 minutes of material and killed. Destroyed, because he was the king of this stuff.
Yeah.
He knew how to do that stuff. Old jokes. Yeah, he had Parkinson's really bad. He did the whole joke about met Muhammad Ali the other day. It took him 20 minutes to get us apart. All those old jokes and all. People were dying. And then he brought up Mike Shannon, who came up. Mike Shannon came up, and he did time, and he interviewed the Cardinals ownerships, who was the most boring interview in the world, and the only person who could be more boring would be the next person interviewed, which was Tony La Russa. So anyway, these guys, it's just going straight downhill from Jack Buck, and I'm thinking, well, at least I can bring them back up. Well, then they did an auction. Now the crowd's falling asleep. Then he says, "I'm going to interview all the players." So he's going down one-to-one. I don't know if you ever heard baseball players talk. Riveting. Anyway, so it's like 20 more minutes of that. And I'm just like, this is going to be the worst. But at least I can go up and I can make fun of the players because they're right there. I'll do a joke about, Jim Edmonds or Matt Morrison or anything like that. Or maybe Tony, I'm thinking, all right, I got it. All right, we got a comedian coming up. But before we do, the players have a day game tomorrow, so we're going to say goodbye to them. So all the players get up and walk off the stage, and I have to wait for them, even though Jack Buck, and your next entertainer is a comedian, Joe Marlotti. And he sits down, and I have to wait. And the crowd most of the crowd gets up and walks out with the players
Oh,
so they get their
man.
autographs. So by the time I got up there's about 20 people in the audience, and I'm at the podium, and right next to me is Tony La Russa and Walt Jocketty, and that's it. There's no one else. It was terrible. Terrible. And then after I'm done, my friend who booked me for the show, he said, yeah, ran into Jack Buck the other day playing golf, and he goes, I feel kind of sorry for the kid. He was pretty good. I was like, yeah, well, yeah, you killed me. So that was my worst show of all.
That sounds rough,
No
man, but
question.
you got through it. It's
I
kinda,
did get
you
through
know,
it, and I got a check, so who cares?
There you go.
The other worst gig I ever had was I used to do college gigs, so NACA gigs, and I did a show in a stairwell between classes. And if you ever talk to anybody who used to do college gigs, you will find out that is a not uncommon type of occurrence.
How many people can fit in a stairwell to watch a comedy show?
It was a stairwell.
Or just people that were going
just
up
walking
and-
around me.
Oh,
Just going
okay.
between classes. People were just walking to class, watching me, going, "What's going on here?" I'm sitting there going, "Hey, how you doing? What's a nice shorts?" You know, it was terrible.
That
Horrible.
sounds pretty rough.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll recover. You don't have to, and then we'll
I don't
come
know.
right back.
And I don't have any best stories. That's the worst part.
Tonight could be the best. You
It
never
could
know.
be.
All right, we'll be right back with more Joe Marlotti, everybody. All right, we're back, sitting here with Joe Marlotti. All right, we talked about comedy. We talked about a lot. Best shows, worst shows, all kinds of
I
stuff.
don't. Yeah,
but,
and I don't have a best show.
well, it's tonight, I'm telling you. I
Okay.
feel it in my bones.
Yeah.
You've done corporates, cruises, corporate events, stuff
Yep.
like that. What would you like rank them in order of like best to worst or hardest to toughest if you had to?
That's interesting. They're all different. I grew up doing the clubs, right? And that's how I knew comedy. And then I started doing the corporate stuff, and that's a different world because you got to play by a lot of rules, and you have to know how to be squeaky clean, and you have to deal with a lot of egos as well. And but that is valuable stuff to know and to learn, and it makes you a better comic when you do all that stuff too. So and it pays the best. The corporate shows can. Excuse me, I had Taco Bell. That happens all the time back here, doesn't it?
It does, unfortunately.
Yeah, when the air kicks on, that's really good. I'm sure that's exactly how it's supposed to sound. Yeah, I hope this place doesn't catch on fire while we're doing the show tonight. Anyway, the corporate shows are the best because they pay the best, but they also take the most planning and time and effort. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the cruises are pretty awesome because you get to go on a cruise, you know, and they let you go ahead. When you're not doing a show, you pretty much do what you want.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of downtime, but you can go, see all these different ports and all this kind of stuff. And if you don't spend a lot of money, it's lucrative.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's more lucrative than the clubs. But you got to have the time, and you got to have you got to know how to do it because it takes a while to learn how to do comedy on a cruise ship. Took me, I would say, almost 3 years to feel comfortable on cruise ships, because first thing you got to do is you got to break down your act so you can put it in 30-minute chunks. Then you got to be able to come up with a second clean show. Then you got to be able to understand the different demographics of the ships, and then understand the travel, because the travel's hard. We're traveling constantly. I'm getting up tomorrow morning at 4:00 to catch a flight. So, that's a weird one. But and then the clubs are still. But you do the cruise ships, and then you get off the cruises, then you come out here to the clubs, and it's like stealing candy. It's like, this is so awesome.
Yeah.
I can literally say anything I want, and these people are here to see me. They're not just walking by going, "Hey, let's go check out that place."
Yeah.
You know, so it's
Yeah,
it's
I
a lot
mean,
different.
I'm sure there's challenges to all of them, but
Yeah.
I'm sure you can kind of just adapt and
Yeah.
figure it out.
It's
but
nice to have all
I'm
of
just
them. If I could do
wondering.
all corporate stuff, I would, because it pays that much more. But it can be creative. It can be creatively satisfying too. But it's not something that people are going to know you for. You know?
Yeah, I've heard good stories. I've heard bad ones. Just like
Yeah.
you would never know until you got there and were doing it almost how it was gonna go.
Yeah,
I wouldn't think
yeah.
because who knows if the CEO's
Right.
tight
Well,
ass or
Right, exactly.
whatever.
Yeah. And doing comedy at a corporate comedy event is different than what I do in most events because I MC corporate events, and that's where that's bigger money.
Yeah.
Well, that's not bigger money. If you're a big name comic, they'll pay you $100,000 to come do your set or whatever. If you're a really big name guy, but if you're Jim Gaffigan or somebody like that. But if you're if you're MCing, it still pays pretty well. But MCing means you got to be on site for all 3 days. You got to block out the week. You got to do the planning beforehand. There's a lot involved. So, but yeah, that's one of the things that I pride myself on is I'm a really good MC. So, in fact, I need to start teaching those classes again here because Matt's like, we need MCs.
Right on. Well, I saw in your bio, I know you opened for a lot of people, but there was a couple that I saw on there that wasn't sure about. Smokey Robinson and Michael Bublé.
Yeah, I opened for Smokey Robinson when he was at the Family Arena in St. Charles.
Okay.
And I think it might have been his last tour before he was accused of sexual misconduct. Because I think that just happened like a month ago.
I hadn't even.
Yeah,
I'm not up on the news. I guess on that.
Yeah, he's got some Bill Cosby accusation things going on. I guess I don't know if it's that bad, but I think it might be. It's really weird because he was the nicest guy. He's the nicest guy, really was. And I was like, Smokey Robinson, he's a legend. So I saw him after the show, after he got off the stage, and I said, "You were great, man," and he gave me a hug.
Really?
And I was like, "Oh, that was cool." And then I went home and I could smell him on me because he's got his own cologne, right? And he's sweating and everything. I was like, "That's weird." So I went home to my wife and I was like, "Hey, you want to smell Smokey Robinson? This is what he smells like." She's like, "What happened?" I was like, "I don't know." Of course, I opened once there for a guy by the name of Tom Jones, and Tom Jones he was the first musical star where women would throw panties onto the stage. He's the guy that started it back in the 60s because he was this hunk of a guy back then. And I opened for him, and I'll be damned if there weren't women still throwing panties on the stage. Wow. And I was sitting off to the side watching him and just laughing my ass off, and I hear, "Hey!" And I turn around, and there's a woman on my side with a pair of panties going, "These are for you," and threw her panties at me. And I caught them. And I said, "Thank you." And she goes, "I couldn't get close to the stage. You were funny." And she walked away. And I put them in my pocket, and I went home. And my wife was like, "How was the show?" And I pulled out the panties and showed her. That was my favorite one. Anyway, and Michael Bublé, I opened for Michael Bublé. This is, I don't know if it technically counts as opening for him, but when he was just a up-and-comer. And there was a guy by the name of Jerry Clinton who owned Grey Eagle Distributors, the largest Anheuser-Busch distributor in the country.
Okay.
And Jerry had a party at his estate out in Wentzville. And at that party were people like Ed McMahon. I don't know if you ever heard Ed McMahon. And he used to be Johnny Carson's sidekick. And Ernie Isley from the Isley Brothers he's one of my favorite guitar players. He was there. All these great, old school musicians and things were there. And Michael Bublé was the
entertainment.
He was the entertainment.
Huh,
so, and I went on right before him, and I brought him up onto the stage, and I did my time, and I'll never forget it because afterwards, Ed McMahon, who used to do a show called Star Search, which I was on.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He said, "I just found out that Joe was on Star Search, my show." And he goes, look, he's doing great. That's fantastic." And he goes, and by the way, Ray Romano just signed a $1 million-something contract. I'm like, don't rub it in, Ed. You don't have to be an asshole.
Was Star Search in New York, or where did you film it?
It was in
L.A.
LA,
Okay,
yeah.
How'd that go, or how was that?
It was fine. It was great. It was a silly show. You just went out there, you did your shtick, and then you walked off, and then they rated you, and you had to stand there while they gave you stars. And I think I got 3 1/4. I think I got 3 1/4 stars. Yeah, it was killing.
That sounds pretty good.
I only lost by a 1/4 star. I know that, Jim.
That's pretty close.
It's been a chip on my shoulder ever since. So
yeah, they 1/4 stars too. You think they at least go half?
Yeah,
that seems
I don't know. I remember who my judges were. It was B. Arthur, Milton Berle,
Okay.
Tony Basil. Do anybody know who Tony Basil is?
I don't know that. I know the other two.
Tony Basil was a "Oh, Mickey, you're so fine. You're so fine. You blow my mind, hey,
Okay.
Mickey." Yeah, that's who she was. Yeah. So yeah.
Nice.
Boy, you're making me feel old. You keep going back to these memories that I haven't dug these up in a million years. So.
Well, you're not that old. I don't know.
Oh, I
or
am.
maybe you
I
are.
am.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
Yeah.
We won't get
Everybody
into
that
it.
I said it opens for me is dead now, except for Smokey Robinson, and he's going to jail. So what do you think about that?
You know,
Yeah.
Sean, is working the bar
Yeah,
out there,
yeah.
slinging the drinks. He said that he gave you quite an intro one time, and he wanted me to bring it up. He said
Sure.
something like he's open for George Carlin, Bill Burr, and
Yeah.
Adele.
And Adele. He told this crowd that I opened for Adele in Canton, Missouri, I believe.
Yeah.
And after the show, all they wanted to do was come talk to me about Adele. Nobody cared about anything I said or how you were funny. It's like, oh my God, tell me about Adele. It's like, I didn't open for Adele. Sean is an asshole. And on a side note, that might have been the finest performance in Sean O'Brien's career. I'll never forget it because he was going long and killing. And I was laughing so hard that he was killing and that he felt comfortable enough to go long. And I was just dying on that. I've never seen him have a better set. Seriously.
That's great, man. He must have been flowing. He
was
had that,
liberated
and
after
then-
letting everybody know that I had opened for Adele, I think. So.
That's great. Well, you said you play a little golf. Do you got any other hobbies, or mostly just golfing?
I golf. I read. Let's see. I do. I'm a gardener, Jim.
Okay.
I have a garden. So yeah, that's what happens when you get old enough. You're like, you know what? I'm just gonna go play with some dirt. I'm gonna be in it soon enough. Might as well just dig it. Just get used to it. You know, that's how I feel. So yeah, I like to do that. I'm into comics. I like comic books.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's about it.
What
I
do
don't
you
really
are
have
you?
much of a life.
Well, I mean, it sounds like you're content.
travel,
That's
I
good.
yeah.
Traveling and just
Traveling,
doing
the
some
music,
hobbies.
yeah. So
What else?
keep
What else do
busy.
you want to do?
Yeah.
That's what I want to do, but I don't do any of that stuff.
What do you do, Jim?
I'd work on an old piece of shit house all the time.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, because we bought that, and I try to do comedy every now and then, and I do my regular job.
Well, I had a house for 25 years I've had two houses. But my second one I had for 25 years, and we sold it after COVID, so we downsized, and I couldn't be happier because I'm not working around the house on stuff that needs to be fixed all the time. Being a homeowner kind of sucks because you're always fixing stuff.
Well, this one was a mess before we got it 3 years ago, and it's built in 1890.
What are you thinking?
I don't know.
You think it's going to get better?
Houses definitely don't get better with age,
But
like
there's
wine.
charm to a house that's
Not-
centuries old.
Yeah, I guess.
Because you got ghosts. I'm sure
Yeah.
you've got ghosts. If you haven't found them yet, they're there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a racist ghost in there, obviously, just because of the time period of the house.
Yeah,
it's
sure.
not great.
I'm sure there is. Yeah,
But,
yeah.
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 It's I do that.
Always time to educate a ghost.
Yeah.
I don't think they're.
But I need to play a little more golf. I like working on old cars a little
Yeah.
bit too. But it's
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
yeah.
I'm not much of a car guy. I never have been. I've just thought they were a place to get, way to get from one way to another.
yeah. I mean they are, but
some
they're-
guys, I know some guys are into it. A couple of my friends of mine are huge car guys. So yeah,
yeah, it's fun. I tried to go to a car show, but
yeah,
the car wouldn't start. So now I got to fix it before I can go to a car show.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's part of it too.
Yeah.
Old house, old cars. It's a
That's
mess.
great. You're an old soul.
I am
Jim.
an old
You're
soul,
for a
yeah.
young guy, you're an old soul.
Got a segment for you here. It's called Three Wishes. So basically,
Do I
it's
have
just
to rub anything to make the genie appear?
you rub the microphone, I guess,
no,
or
I'm
I
not
don't
gonna
know.
touch that. That looks too much like what. So
I could get it started. Mostly, it's just like a minor nicety, or nothing extravagant. It could be whatever you want. But I'll give you an example here. I wish that I could dunk.
a basketball.
Yeah, and
That's
I
a
played
good
basketball in high school,
Yeah.
and I got so close.
Yeah.
I could probably dunk like a Nerf ball.
Yeah.
So how much I would have had to jump maybe 2 inches higher, and I didn't work out enough to do it. I was
Yeah,
like, why
yeah.
didn't I just get in
Yeah.
the weight room and dunk one time? And now it's never going to happen, obviously. But
Don't sell yourself short.
I just don't see it happening.
'Cause the older
But-
you get, the easier it is to do athletic things.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one of the things. I think I just wish I could hit a golf ball even close to the way I used to hit it when I was young. I mean, I can't. I just can't do it. My body just literally won't let me do it. There's body parts that don't move the same. There's other parts that hurt, and then I don't have the patience to practice as much or the time to do it.
Is it velocity or like keeping it straight?
Both?
Okay.
Both, yeah. I mean, I'm horrible now sometimes, but it's a crapshoot. Sometimes I'll go out and I'm hitting them pretty good, and then fall completely apart on one hole and then want to kill somebody.
I know.
Yeah, but that's golf.
You got to play all the time. I played once
True.
last year, and
Yeah.
obviously that time didn't go well.
Yeah. Well, I hope
But-
you didn't expect it to.
No, I didn't,
Yeah.
but it's like
Never expected to.
Yeah,
That's one of
it's
those
tough. So that's one of your wishes for you. The
Yeah.
golf swing. That's
I wish,
a good one.
I wish my golf swing would go back to the way it was when I was. Yeah, if I had a genie, hit that
Okay.
ball. Yeah, can't do it.
I think my next one just being in better shape.
That's pretty common.
Yeah, but it's I don't know. I keep saying I'm gonna get in shape, and I just don't, and I eat like shit, and it's not.
These are
great.
pretty pedestrian wishes.
I know.
Here, Jim.
I've done this. I've done this segment a lot,
Can't
so
you
I'm running
shoot
out.
for the moon here. I mean, I wish. How about world peace? Can we start at world?
There
peace?
you go. That's a good
Nobody
wish.
ever wishes for world peace anymore.
I know.
Yeah.
That could be your next one. I mean, we could use it right now for sure.
Oh yeah, I can't believe what's happening right now with everybody just hating on each other so much, and I mean and I hate to say this, but it's starting at the top. People look at people used to look at our government like, oh, you need to help us out, and now people are like, yeah, I hate everybody else too, and it's like everybody hates everybody. Everybody hates the guy in charge. The guy in charge hates everybody else. It's like, why is this? What's happening, man?
It's a
How did
mess.
this happen?
Yeah, it's.
Kumbaya, bitches.
I know.
Let's all get together and just and they're let's here you, and Diddy's going to go to prison, but I think we need a good freak off. I think we all do. That's what we need. A little release,
Yeah,
So-
it's not good. Everybody's mad at each other for the wrong
Yeah.
reasons. Like, let's stay in the middle. I'm not a political guy. I'm not
Yeah.
a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm in the middle. I just know everybody's fucking up right now. And it's not
I'm just
great.
appalled
It's
at,
not
at
good.
How people are just really quick to hate another person. They don't
I know.
So,
And they're
I
not-
hate that.
They're not hating the right people. They need to
Yeah,
be
that's
hating the
true.
people that are taking away the health care and
True.
having all these problems, but it's not.
I used to tell a joke about that. I said I used to tell my kids when I was growing up about they told me about curse words. They asked me about that because I use them in my act and they knew it.
Yeah.
And they were little kids, and I said, look, don't use them if you can avoid it because you should be able to be smart enough to come up with better descriptive words than just to go to that. And I said, if you want to know the truth, the only true hate, the 4-letter word, is hate. I told them that, and they've always hated me for that. So fuck them. So that's what I used to say on the stage. So maybe I'll do that joke again tonight.
There
It's
you
been a
go.
bit. It's
Bring
been
it
a bit.
back.
Yeah.
Got one more, and then if you got anything else, and then we can wrap it up. But the last one, this one's more relevant, I guess. I wish I still didn't get pimples all the time. I'm in my mid-30s, and I still have terrible skin. Like, a lot of people have that from, like, 14 to
Yeah.
18, and then they're done.
Yeah.
Not me. All the time. Sucks.
Right. Yeah. I don't know what to tell you on that one.
I don't either.
Maybe you should change your diet, Jim.
That would go back to the last one, get in better shape, and then
Yeah,
maybe it'll be
yeah.
my skin.
Yeah.
I got this workout equipment set up
Eat-
the other
eating-
day.
Are you eating hot dogs every day?
Every other, probably.
Probably, yeah. Okay. Well, there's, I'm not a nutritionist or anything, but I'm thinking, I don't know. Well, I'm trying to think about my wishes. What would I wish for?
You got a golf swing. You got world peace. Those
World
are
peace
pretty
is a good
good.
one,
That's
man.
a pretty good.
Yeah, I think those two, I might be good with that.
Yeah.
What's that one about? God, it reminds me about one of my all-time favorite jokes about the what is it, the Jewish guy, the black guy, and the wasp are all walking down the beach, and they find the lamp and they rub it, and the genie gives you each get 3 wishes, and the first one says you each get 1 wish, and so he goes to the Jewish guy, and he goes, what do you wish? And he goes, I wish that all my people, he goes, could come back to Israel, where we are from, instead of having to go throughout the entire world because of persecution and hatred, and live as one. And he goes, boom, done. The genie says, and he goes to the black guy. He goes, "How about you?" He goes, "Well, obviously, I wish there would have never been slavery." He goes, "Because my people should be in Africa. All of us should be in Africa, where we were born, where our roots are, and we shouldn't have had to have been forced to go all around the world when we didn't want to." And he goes, "Okay, good, boom." And he looks at the wasp and he says, "What about you?" And he goes, "Okay, let me get this straight. You're telling me all the Jewish people are back in Israel?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "And all the black people are back in Africa?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "I'll have a Diet Coke." Sorry, that was actually was it Bob Osborne or Bob Einstein, the guy who used to be Super Dave Osborne? Yeah, he told that joke on Letterman one night, and it was one of the funniest things I've ever heard. And I was like,
an old school one for sure.
It's as old school as you can get, because quite frankly, anybody who hears this podcast is going to be like, "That guy is a racist."
Well, it wasn't even. Yeah, that's a great one.
But it is. But that is one of the things. It's like you give people 3 wishes, and it's like, isn't too enough.
I think you kind of nailed it with 2. So it's all good.
Kumbaya, people.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I would, world peace is one thing, but as like a wish to corollary, I guess you put, is I just wish people would be more tolerant of people who aren't like themselves, aren't like you, because just because you do things your way does not mean everybody should, nor what everybody else is doing is wrong.
Yeah.
Really, seriously. I mean, it's just let people be the way they want to be, and quit trying to make people be like you or do what you want them to do. So that's great advice. Yeah, and I guess the other wish, third wish, be I would like God to smite everyone who doesn't do the things that I want them to do. So that'd be more like it. Smite thee. Smite them. Well, I know we got to get ready for the next show here. So yeah, we're in a good spot right now. We're in a good spot. We'll wrap things up here. Appreciate you doing the podcast. Hey, I'm glad I was able to finally do it. Yeah, man. Where can people find you? Social media, that kind of stuff? I am horrible with social media. Okay. Mostly on Facebook. I've got Joe Marlotti, just plain Joe Marlotti, and then I also have Joe Marlotti, professional comedian, out there. I usually keep people up on when I'm doing land shows and what I'm doing, and possibly every once in a while I'll comment about something stupid. And I have my own website that I have not updated since, I think, 92. So you can come on and check that one out, joemarlotti.com. But I think I'm going to work on it this week. All right. Something done. Yeah, we'll check him out on Facebook, it sounds like. But Joe Marlotti, everybody. Yep. Thanks for listening to and/or watching Back of the Room.